Nobody wants to think really ill of the president. It took me a long time to come around to the idea that nobody could be this incompetent. There had to be a reason why Obama is weakening and degrading America. And I've now figured out, with the help, of course, of a lot of other people who have figured this out before me, why Obama is doing what he's doing to weaken and degrade America and Israel. And to really understand this, you have to go back to his past. We've never had an American president like this, a guy who was influenced by anti-colonialists and communists. Now just think about his past. Who influenced him? His father, who we only met once after his father deserted him, was an anti-colonialist whose major anger in life was directed at colonial empires, and Obama sees the USA that way. And then, when his mother, who was a leftist, a white leftist who married his Kenyan father, brought him to Hawaii, and her father, who was a leftist, found a mentor and a friend of his named Frank Davis, who Obama refers to over 30 times in his autobiography, but never as Frank Davis, just Frank. The guy was a member of the Communist Party and spoke communism to Obama all those formative years. And then he goes on to college and he befriends a lot of left-wing socialists, communists. One time he joins the new party, which he lied about, which is a communist party. And at Harvard Law School, one of his main mentors was a guy named Robert Unger, Harvard law professor, who was so far left that when he left Harvard to go work for the socialist Brazilian government, he's Brazilian, they kicked him out and sent him back to Harvard. And he only stopped communicating with Obama right before the election in 2008 because he knew it would hurt Obama. And then Obama's two major influences in foreign policy were Rashid Khalidi and Edward Said, who passed away, both vicious anti-Israel people, both the Israel as a colonial empire. And this helps explain why Obama returned Winston Churchill's bust that was in the room, because he sees Churchill not as the greatest man of the 20th century to save the world, but rather as a colonialist. And this explains so much about why Obama, when he said to Joe the plumber, I'm trying to spread the wealth, he didn't mean just in America. He meant to degrade America economically, because he doesn't want America to be overwhelmingly powerful and rich too. That's the only way you could possibly understand why he would be driving deficits to such record lengths, that if he's given another term, he'll have accumulated more deficit and debt than all the other presidents in U.S. history combined. Now, he pays lip service to cutting debt. He complained about Bush raising $400 billion in debt. But meanwhile, every year of Obama's budget, it's $1.3 trillion in debt. Nobody can be that incompetent. He has no economic plan. The only budget he's ever submitted was voted down by overwhelming part of both parties. His own party didn't give him a single vote on his budget because it's so ridiculous, this enormous debt of trillions and trillions and trillions. The only reason, nobody can be that incompetent, he's only doing it because he wants to degrade America to level the playing field. Then you have unemployment. It's been over 8% for 42 straight months. And with that kind of thing, you'd think a guy would be huddling with his economic advisors day and night. He's met with them once. And he's met with his cabinet once this whole year. Rather, he goes to fundraisers and plays golf. He wants to degrade America. He's very happy with what's going on, even though he pretends, of course, he isn't. And all you have to do is think about Greece now, with unemployment over 50% for young people and 24% for the population. That's exactly where we're headed under Obama, and that's where he wants to take us, which is the sick thing. Gas prices have doubled, and his own energy secretary says he wants gas at $8 a gallon because he wants to hurt the American economy. Now you can understand why. Why has Obama stopped offshore drilling on public lands around our coasts, but given money to Brazil and Colombia, former colonies? To drill will make sense if you understand how much of an anti-colonialist this guy is, this Obama. And then he creates this Obamacare to take over health care and the medical industry, and it's coming at double the cost that he initially said it would. On and on and on. He wastes money on giving money to his corrupt cronies in phony green deals where every job costs $1 million. Keeps demanding the rich pay more, even though we have the highest corporate tax rates in the world, and the top few percent already pay the overwhelming bulk of the federal income tax, and 50% of Americans pay no federal income tax. You have massive increases in food stamps, highest record ever, most people in poverty ever. This is what Obama wants. I know it's hard to understand. It's hard to accept that a president of the United States would be so duplicitous and so trying to hurt us, but that's exactly what he wants to do. He wants to make America just like another country. And his national security has done exactly the same thing. He's eviscerated the military with drastic cuts. Congressman West was here in Chicago and said recently that we'll have the smallest Navy and Air Force ever since they were created in our history. That's what Obama wants. He wants to cut our nuclear weapons to 300, which will put us 5 times less than the Soviet Union. And then when he thought the mic was off, remember what he said to Medvedev, the Russian president, well, I'll have more flexibility to cut even more when I'm reelected. He's hired 6 Muslim Brotherhood people at least to serve in the U.S. government administration. He then sent Senator Kerry out to say Muslim Brotherhood is not a threat, it's not a terrorist group. Don't forget that before he was worried about re-election, he blamed Israel for all of the problems with the Palestinians, forgetting that they promote hatred all the time. Even though he talks about Iran not getting nuclear weapons, it's clear that he wants them to have them. He talked to them for a year and a half, got nowhere. And then, according to Senator Mark Kirk, he's done everything he can to block sanctions, to render them ineffective by granting waivers all the time. Our best Arab ally in the Middle East, Mubarak, he forced out. He jumped on the bandwagon early, and now he's been replaced by a Muslim Brotherhood terrorist organization running Egypt. We have all these national security leaks, especially undermining Israel, coming right out of his office. He's look up on the internet. He wants the authority to close the internet in an emergency, kind of as the fascistic dictator would do. He's also talked about creating a civilian army, go on the internet and find that out. I mean, all of these things point to a guy who wants to weaken and degrade America, why he has all these chummy pictures with Chavez, the dictator of Venezuela, why he's allowed Iran to set up a military base with missiles in Venezuela in our own hemisphere. I know it's hard to imagine, but this guy wants America to be just like any other country. And can you imagine a world in which America isn't the superpower, where China and Iran and all these other countries, North Korea, assume power and they're not afraid of us? They're not even afraid. They're certainly not afraid now because of Obama, but what a much more terrifying world. That's not the world I want to live in. And the only way you can do this is by electing a guy, Romney, who's tough on foreign policy, who's spent his whole life creating hundreds of thousands of jobs with Bain Capital. He brought Massachusetts from the 47th state in the union to 30th in job creation. The only reason it stopped there is because they were at full employment. He turned around a broken Olympics. He's the guy who can fix our economy. He's not a guy who worries about America being a bad country and a weak country, but he wants America to be strong again. Vote Romney and fire Obama.